This is the SUNSEEKER X7 wireless robot lawnmower, a low, gray, modern-looking mower with clean lines, two big front drive wheels, and a single powered rear wheel that does the steering. It sits low to the ground, about 29.2 inches long, 20.2 inches wide, and just over 10 inches tall, with a little roof over its stereo cameras that acts like a brow to keep water and dust off the lenses. The body is plastic and 30.5 pounds, so it's light enough to move with the built-in handle, but I learned quickly to grab it only by that handle. If I lifted it from the wrong spot, a piece of the shell could flex or pop loose. That said, the shape and stance feel built for traction and agility more than for show, and that choice pays off once it starts working. From my experience, the standout with the X7 is how it moves. Key features for me are the all-wheel drive and that unique rear-wheel steering. On my sloped lawn, it held traction without spinning, and it climbed grades that have stopped other mowers I've tried. The tail swings wide when it turns though, and I noticed scuffs showed up fast along the back edges after a few days navigating near hard borders. If your yard has tight rock beds, narrow walkways, or sharp garden walls, plan your virtual boundaries with a little extra buffer so the tail doesn't kiss every edge. Navigation is where the X7 separates itself. It uses RTK GNSS with a base station, which in plain terms is like giving GPS a local helper tower in your yard so the mower knows its position precisely. When satellite signal isn't great, the stereo cameras kick in using a method called VSLAM, which builds a visual map from what the lenses see. In my opinion, that handoff is the reason it keeps going under trees and near buildings instead of wandering off course. There's also a long-range radio link to keep the mower and base talking reliably, and I never saw a drop in communication during normal use. Setup took some patience. I placed the charging dock near the lawn's edge and set the RTK base where it had a clear view of the sky. The app didn't show a live satellite strength meter, so I had to try a couple of spots until the mower tracked consistently. I tried manual mapping first. That meant I remote drove the mower, tracing the perimeter and circling obstacles I wanted it to avoid. It took me about 45 minutes at a slow walking pace. It was boring, but the map I got was extremely accurate. There's an AI mapping option that can auto-detect boundaries, and on fenced or clearly bordered yards, it's a big time saver. I still did a little cleanup after the auto pass, but it got me most of the way there. Cut quality is excellent. The X7 uses dual cutting blades and a 14-inch cutting width, and I set my height between 0.8 and 4 inches depending on the week and the weather. On a maintenance schedule, it leaves a clean, professional-looking finish without tearing turf, even after rain when the ground is a bit soft. If I let the grass get too tall and wet, clippings could wedge around the blade disc and stall cutting. That's common for small plate robotic systems. My simple fix was to raise the deck, run a quick pass, and drop the height the next night. Mowing logic can look random. Sometimes it doesn't draw those neat stripes you see from a walk behind. But by the end of the schedule, it covers the whole zone. It's not fast either. It takes hours to finish large areas. I don't watch it. I just set a nightly schedule and let it chip away. The X7 is rated for up to 0.75 acres, or roughly 32,000 square feet, and that feels right based on battery life and pace. It's quiet enough that neighbors won't care if it runs while they're having dinner on the patio. The app is the weak link. It's stable and responsive, and every setting I changed actually stuck, but the interface looks plain and feels clunky. The good news is I could still do everything I needed: create zones, set a week-long schedule, tweak cutting height, and check status in real time. I'd love a more polished layout and better guidance for placing the RTK base, but functionally, it got the job done. If you're used to premium smart home apps, you'll think this one needs work. If you've never used a robotic mower before, you might find it simple enough. Smart behavior impressed me. Rain detection is spot on. The moment it felt drops, it paused and headed back to the dock. It auto-recharged and picked up where it left off without my help. I even pulled power on the dock to see what would happen. It waited in the yard, reconnected after I restored power, and rolled right back into its path. That's the kind of reliability I want in a mower that's supposed to run on its own. The chassis and dock design are washable and water resistant, so my after-mow routine is just a quick hose rinse under the deck to clear clippings. I had a few trouble spots. A narrow side yard with a 6 to 7 foot corridor between a fence and the house gave it fits early on. With some map edits and a couple of passes, it got better. And I've seen firmware updates improve how it handles passages, but it still isn't perfect in skinny channels. The low ground clearance can hang on high roots or big humps, though the AWD and big front tires pull it out of most jams. And again, watch that tail swing near hardscape. I added virtual no-go strips along my stone border and avoided more scuffs. Key features that matter to me start with navigation accuracy and slope handling. The X7 earns high marks there. The cut quality over a 0.8 to 4-inch range keeps my lawn looking cared for with very little effort. The wire-free setup with RTK and camera mapping means no perimeter wire to bury, which I appreciate. The app needs polish, but it's usable. From my experience, the hardware feels overbuilt for traction and stability, while some exterior plastics and that rear overhang feel easier to scratch than I'd like. It's perfect for medium to large yards with open areas, rolling terrain, and slopes that make traditional robotic models struggle. If your property is tight and full of raised stone borders or narrow alleys, plan on careful mapping and a few extra keep-out zones. If you want a mower that paints perfect lines while you watch it, this isn't that. If you want a quiet, steady worker that finishes the job overnight, you'll be happy. I'd recommend this for homeowners who value raw performance, reliable navigation, and low daily effort more than a pretty app. If you're willing to spend a little time on initial mapping and some tuning for tricky corners, the payoff is a lawn that stays trimmed with minimal fuss. The X7 doesn't act like a flashy gadget. It acts like a tool that shows up and does the work, rain or shine, and that's what I want from a robot mower. In my opinion, the SUNSEEKER X7 nails the fundamentals: traction, cut quality, and location awareness. The software experience lags behind, and the body can pick up cosmetic wear quickly, but none of that stopped it from keeping my grass right where I want it. In conclusion, if your yard challenges other mowers and you care more about results than a glossy interface, this is a strong pick for up to 3/4 of an acre, especially if you've got slopes and uneven ground. You can view detailed information about the SUNSEEKER X7 wireless robot lawn mower in the comments section. Thank you for watching.